Welcome to Daily Life Pod, your source for daily inspiration and insights.
Do you feel it? That constant low-level hum of anxiety? It's not just from being busy, but from that deep, nagging feeling that you're forgetting something crucial. You're just longing for a reset button, pause to organize your mind, but the responsibilities just keep piling up.
That is the universal symptom of modern life, isn't it? It's that feeling of running faster just to stay in the same place.
Exactly.
And we often think the solution is just to work harder. But David Allen's Getting Things Done, or GTD, it completely flips that script. It's a path to, stress-free productivity because it targets the actual root cause of stress.
Which you're saying isn't the volume of work.
No. It's the mental friction caused by all those unorganized thoughts.
Okay, let's unpack that, because for most of us, the stress is the volume. It's the packed schedule, the overflowing inbox. Why is the workload secondary to the mental clutter?
Because your brain is a brilliant processor, but it's a terrible office manager. The real reason you feel short on time isn't what's on your desk. It's the countless scattered thoughts racing through your mind about what's on your desk. Every unaddressed idea is constantly diverting mental energy.
So if I have 50 things to do and they're just in my head.
That's 50 little internal interruptions every hour. Our mission for this deep dive is to really explore how GTD moves that chaos out of your head and into a system you can trust, freeing you up to actually think.
I like that. Moving the fight from the clock to the clutter. And to get why this works, we have to look at how work itself has changed.
It's a fascinating evolution. I mean, decades ago, your role was pretty static. You had clear instructions on what to do and how to do it.
Right, you showed up and did the thing you were told to do.
Exactly. But today, most of us are in jobs where roles evolve daily. And critically, we're expected not just to do tasks, but to define them. We have to figure out the what, the how, and the when.
That defining part is exhausting in itself.
It is. That burden is a huge source of mental fatigue. It brings us right to the psychological cost of what GTD calls open loops.
Okay, open loops. What are those exactly?
This is the key psychological insight. Your brain is wired for survival, so it sees any unfinished task as an incomplete loop that needs to be closed.
So it just keeps reminding you.
Constantly, and often at the worst possible moments. Until a task is either done or put into a system your brain trusts, it just keeps pushing those reminders.
So even if you just have, say, 10 of those open loops.
That's 10 background processes running in your consciousness, silently draining your focus from what you're actually trying to do right now.
It's like a very well-meaning but ultimately distracting nag.
Yeah.
So if our own brain is the problem, what habits do we need to convince it that everything's handled?
You really only need two fundamental habits. The first is clarity.
Clarity.
If you have an idea or a task, you have to get it out of your head immediately. Write it down in crystal clear terms. What is the actual action? And then you assign it a specific place or a date.
Okay, so it has a home. And the second habit.
Laser sharp focus. When you're working on something, give it your full, undivided attention. Distraction doesn't just slow you down, it forces your brain to task switch, which dramatically increases stress.
And the benefit of just writing it down is that the brain, it just lets go.
Instantly. Once it knows a task is accounted for, it's externalized, it's scheduled, it stops fixating. Your mind trusts the system, and you can finally achieve that deep concentration.
That's the peace of mind everyone is looking for. But you can't earn that trust with a few sticky notes. You need a real system. And that starts with controlling your environment.
That's absolutely essential, yes. You can't build trust on a shaky foundation. You need the right time, space, and tools. And this is the biggest hurdle for most people, the initial commitment. The sources recommend setting aside at least 2 full days.
2 full days. That sounds like exactly the kind of overwhelming task that causes the stress in the first place.
Yeah.
How do you convince someone to stop for 2 days just to start organizing?
It's a fair objection, but you have to see it as a one-time systems installation, not just cleaning. You're doing a comprehensive inventory of your entire life, mental and physical.
A clean slate.
Exactly. And that feeling of clarity you get is the fuel that keeps the system going. It's an investment that pays dividends in mental bandwidth for years.
Okay, fair enough. So we've committed the time. Now we jump into the collection process.
Yeah.
Gathering every loose end into one spot, the in basket.
Yes. And this is total immersion. It's got 2 parts. First, the physical collection. You literally gather everything scattered around that doesn't have a home old mail, notes, receipts, business cards. and put it all into one physical in-basket.
That could take a while.
Oh, it can easily take 2 to 6 hours. Then comes the second part.
The mental collection.
This is where you address those open loops. You write down every single idea, task, and commitment floating around in your mind, and you put those notes in the in-basket too. The goal is to get your head completely empty.
So now you have this mountain of stuff in one place. How do we process that without just dissolving into a stress puddle?
Systematically. One decision at a time. The key is, once you touch an item, you never put it back in the pile. First, you toss the obvious junk. Then you apply the foundational GTD hack, the 2-minute rule.
Let's talk about that rule because it's brilliant.
It's so powerful. If you look at an item and the action it requires will take 2 minutes or less to complete, you just do it immediately.
Don't schedule it, don't file it.
Just do it. Send that quick email, file that receipt. These tiny tasks are the ones that create that low-level hum of anxiety when they're left undone.
Okay, so after the 2-minute stuff is gone, the next step has to be making vague ideas concrete. We write down plan vacation and then wonder why we procrastinate.
That vagueness is a trap. You have to break it down into a clear, single, physical, actionable step. So clean the living room becomes vacuum the carpet, dust the surfaces, things like that.
Your resistance to starting just drops when you know exactly what the physical action is.
Right, because you're not wasting mental energy deciding how to start. And if an outcome requires more than one step, like prepare the annual presentation.
That becomes a project.
Exactly, that's a project. And for every project, you then have to define the single next action to move it forward.
So once everything is collected and processed, we organize it all into a trustworthy system with 5 core categories.
Yes, and this is where the trust is built. Because if the system fails you even once, your brain loses confidence and goes right back to nagging you. And the vital rule here is never list the same task in more than one place.
One home for everything. What are the homes?
First, you have your projects list, anything requiring more than one step. Then you have your next actions list.
The single-step tasks.
Right, ready to be done now. And a pro tip here is to group them by context. All phone calls together, all computer tasks together.
What about things you've delegated?
That's category 3. The waiting for list. It's your tracking system, so you don't have to keep it all in your head. Fourth is the someday maybe list, for all those ideas and goals that aren't active commitments yet.
Aspirational clutter. Got it. And the 5th is the calendar, which is where a lot of people go wrong.
They absolutely do. The calendar is not a dumping ground for your to-do list.
It's not a wish list for what you hope to get done today.
No. It is reserved strictly for time-sensitive commitments. A doctor's appointment, a meeting, a hard deadline. If it must happen at a specific time or on a specific day, it goes on the calendar. If not, it belongs on your next actions list.
That distinction feels like it brings so much clarity to the day. You look at your calendar and you only see the hard landscape, the things you can't move.
It radically simplifies your choices. You know your appointments, and in the gaps between them, you turn to your next actions list and pick something based on your context.
Right, which brings us to contextual efficiency. So you can have a list for at the office, at home, or even offline computer work.
It's a huge win. Imagine you're on a plane with no internet. Instead of wasting that time, you pull up your offline list and review a document or write a draft. The system helps you make the best choice no matter where you are.
This all sounds great,
Mm-hmm.
but systems can fail from neglect. How do we keep the engine running?
That brings us to maybe the most vital part of GTD, the weekly review.
The maintenance step.
Exactly. Once a week, you set aside time to go through every list. You review your projects, your next actions, your calendar. You ask, is this still relevant? Is the next action still the right one?
So weekly review is how you renew your brain's trust in the system every single week.
Precisely. If you skip it, things start to slip, the open loops creep back in, and you're back to square one. It's the psychological promise to your mind that everything is and will remain under control.
Okay, so that's for handling existing tasks. But what about planning bigger, more complex projects? How do we do that without feeling like we're forcing ourselves through some rigid corporate flowchart?
We use what Alan calls the natural planning model. The core idea is that your own mind is the best planner there is. You're far more effective when you plan instinctively than when you try to use some clunky software.
So GTD just formalizes the process our brain already uses. What are those steps?
There are 5 essential phases. First, you define the purpose. Why are we even doing this? Second, you envision the outcome. You visualize what success looks like.
So you define the what before you jump into the how.
Exactly. Third is brainstorming. You just generate all the ideas and steps without judgment. Fourth is organizing those ideas, maybe into an outline. And finally, the most critical step, identifying the next action.
What's the one physical thing I can do right now to move this forward?
That's it.
It sounds a bit abstract, but the sources used a great example: planning a dinner party.
It works perfectly because it's so organic. You decide to have a dinner party. First, your purpose, is it a casual get-together or something formal? Then you envision the outcome, you picture the guests, the food, the ambiance.
Then you brainstorm who to invite, what to cook. Then you organize, you make a shopping list, you set a date.
And then you land on the very next action, which might just be text Jane to see if Saturday works. It aligns with how your mind already thinks, so it's effortless.
So what does this all mean for someone listening right now who's feeling buried? It means GTD enables this powerful shift. You move from feeling controlled by a chaotic life to being fully in control of your attention and your actions.
Because you finally have an external system you can absolutely trust to hold everything else.
That's the key, the trust.
It is. Look, we can't add more hours to the day, but we can fundamentally change how we use them. The path to doing more with less stress is mastering organization and sharpening focus. The success comes from regaining the mental bandwidth you unknowingly gave away to clutter.
That mental freedom really is the ultimate prize.
Yeah.
Okay, so for a final provocative thought for you to carry forward, if the goal is to reclaim your mind by closing open loops, I challenge you to identify one area, physical or mental, that you can clear today. Just one. Find that old pile of papers that's been nagging you, or finally write down that one big responsibility that keeps popping into your head. Do that one thing, and you will immediately experience that fundamental sense of control that GTD promises. It's not just about cleaning. It's about reclaiming the cognitive space you ceded to chaos.